This was not just a director. This was a man who really understood the human condition. I remember that he came from the theater. He was an actor on Broadway. In A Bell for Adano, he did Three Men and a Horse, and he also understudied Gene Kelly in The Time of Your Life, William Saroyan's The Time of Your Life. So that was his foundation. But he wanted to be a filmmaker. When he went into the Army, as many people did in the Second World War, he was able to be assigned to Robert Flaherty, the great documentarian Robert Flaherty, and he learned his filmmaking techniques from Robert Flaherty. Now, Robert Flaherty is the father of documentary filmmaking and documentaries that deal with the study of the human condition and humanity. Not travelogues, but humanity. So that formed the foundation of Jack and what he saw through the lens. When he left the Army, he came back to New York and he did a documentary himself, and it was called With These Hands, that not many people have ever seen. It was a documentary about the garment workers' fire that was in New York. This little documentary that Jack Arnold did was nominated for an Oscar, and it brought him to Hollywood. And while in Hollywood, he was put under contract to Universal, where he did some great movies, westerns, and he did comedies, and he did science fiction, and science fiction, and science fiction, and that's what he became known as, a great science fiction filmmaker. Jack did a movie called The Mouse That Roared, a great film with Peter Sellers, one of the funniest movies that I've ever seen. And actually, he discovered Peter Sellers. He saw Peter Sellers in performance in the West End, and he knew right then and there that he found his Tully. And Peter wound up playing 3 or 4 characters in that movie, including the Grand Duchess of Fenwick. And the movie was a terrific film. I mean, every little nuance of that movie was Jack, including seeing the mouse crawl up the skirt of the logo of Columbia Pictures at the very beginning before the movie started. That was Jack. He was an innovator. He fought the studio on Incredible Shrinking Man. The ending of Incredible Shrinking Man is where Grant Williams continues to shrink down smaller and smaller and smaller, walks through the screen, and then continues to shrink into some other world. It wasn't the ending that the studio wanted. The studio wanted the shrinking man to get big again and everyone's happily ever after. But Jack fought for that. And it's that metaphysical ending that makes the picture a classic today. If you look at scenes from Creature from the Black Lagoon, where Rico Browning, who's the creature, is swimming underneath the girl. It's very sensual, very beautiful. And then you go look at Jaws, and you'll see scenes in Jaws where the shark is swimming underneath the girl. Very sensual and very beautiful. Whenever I see shots and scenes from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I often think of It Came from Outer Space, where the legendary Jack Arnold, the filmmaker Jack Arnold, has impacted filmmakers today and how we look at the world.